Welcome, welcome, welcome to Flow Club number one, edition one. I'm Leah Sonaria, and I'm your priestess and guide for the evening. But I also want to invite you to co-create in this space, and I'll explain a little bit more as we go. But I'm really excited to offer this container to my community because it's been something that's been brewing for a very, very, very long time and has not come around for several years for whatever reason. And I've met many of you in person and we've done lots of things together. But having a community offering that is kind of like a way to anchor the community and whatever pillar I'm holding for the greater community was missing. And yeah, it just became very clear to do this every month on the 22nd of the month, which is the day of the priestess. 22 is really a special number to bring us into this union coherence energy of the divine feminine and everything that comes through when we walk that path. And so, if you're here, it's not by mistake. You arrived here at the temple. And as such, there are some protocols just to keep it really intact and, some agreements that we can make as a community because we're gathering here for the first time and I want it to be a safe place for everybody to be able to share their hearts and their truths and sometimes stuff comes up because we're in an energy alchemy crucible. So lots can move in a really short period of time. So yeah, just keep in mind that this is a space where we all get to feel seen and heard and respected. So no judgments, no opinions. That doesn't really serve anyone to feel like there's some agenda here. And I've actually come into this space with zero planning for a reason because I really wanted it to be an oracular transmission and just kind of an example of what it feels like more than the mind understanding things, but what it feels like to be in a flow space where the um the actual co-creation uh, effects are at play and that we can start to understand how we can individually co-create with the divine and be able to really call in and quote unquote manifest our dream lives, whatever we desire as human beings, but to also come into the real work that we are all assigned to do on behalf of the collective. I'll just say it straight off the bat to clear the blockages that are getting in the way of this for everybody, because there's massive imbalances happening still in the world, and we don't have to be all reminded about the wars that are still raging and the ones that are just beginning and all of this stuff that's going on. But just know that by coming into this space and saying yes and spending your precious time, your time that you won't get back, in this moment with us together, we are doing the bigger collective work to bring coherence into the field, to heal at the deepest levels, to clear out all the interferences and blockages that have caused humanity to come away from our core culture. And that's something we're all defining together is what culture is. And I'll go into that in a little bit after we all drop in. But it is really one of those things that I want to feel is having an impact on the world. And it is deep stuff that is coming back for a reason at this time so that we can remember all of us playing a role in this, in bringing coherence to the world. And that starts within, in our inner temples that we carry every day, and so that our external reality can also manifest the temple experience, which I believe is what's needed right now for many, especially divine feminines, but also divine masculines. And anyone can be divine, everyone is divine, but the way that we can really start to craft our culture in a way of beauty, in a way of all of the things that nature provides already, but then we can make our version of the palaces and the temples and the dream homes and the dream experiences and all the things that we want to call in because we're still living these lifetimes with these bodies that enjoy all the sensory pleasures of this world. And so I'm just super thrilled that you're all here and that the oracular transmission is just going to come through me and into you through the guides that support me and the collective. Many of us are tuning into the Egyptian tradition these days because it is such a powerful tradition. So I'll be explaining a little bit of that. I'll have a little bit of time to share after we do the meditation. I've got Jordan here today, and she's an incredible astrologer. So she's going to give a little check-in about the what's going on in the what's the cosmic weather forecast? And then we'll go into, I'm not exactly sure. We'll kind of flow with it. I kind of want to also get to know you guys better and tune into what it is that you're currently dreaming up for this year. This is, this is a planning and visioning circle as much as it is a receiving space where you can just calibrate. But I think it's also really important to mention that by coming together like this, we do amplify each other's intentions and prayers in such a big way, and things can happen in really random ways as well. Like, I'll just say really quickly that right before this call, my mother ran into this space that I'm in because I live in her basement, and she like had to unclog the bathtub because there was some plumbing issue. And so here she's like literally physically unclogging a blockage before we go into the Flow Club temple. So it's like, huh, okay, so sometimes these kinds of weird things come up also in between calls. So maybe in future calls, I'll have some time to also reflect on the last month if a few people want to share what they noticed happening, because a lot of this work is also pattern tracking and starting to notice how the movements of the universe are in their own flow and which designs and almost like flow codes the universe is giving to us, so that we can pick up on it and be like, oh, that wasn't chaotic. That was exactly aligned to the energies that were present that I wasn't maybe present to in the moment. But then seeing my mother jam a stick down the drain is like pretty clearly indicating that blockages are wanting to be cleared in whichever form. So, just as an example. But like weird stuff does happen in these spaces sometimes. And it's only weird because it's different from what we've been raised with, and the more hegemonic culture, overarching culture wants us to believe that things are a certain way. And then our job is to completely rewrite all the rules and see if we can still play the game that way. And it's a next level sort of ability that we're all unlocking. And it is really simple at the same time, because this is our sovereignty mission to be able to say that we can craft the reality that we want because we are master creators. So at the end of all of this, this is just coming back to restoring your creation power with the support of these incredible Egyptian guides. And they are all creator gods. They all have been on the same creation journey because they are, obviously they're making lots happen through us, with us, and it's a whole thing that we can tune into. So, and then with that, we'll do a little dance out at the end, and just kind of, yeah, let our embodied flow and our somatic sense start to come more online, and just let it be what it's meant to be. This is also part of taking space for the dialogue with self, and you'll also I'll send out some journaling questions afterwards as well, so that you can start to kind of build this relationship with yourself as a divine human, as an artist, as an entrepreneur, as somebody who is making an impact on the world with their work, as a parent, as a family member, as, yeah, a guide, as a magician, whatever it is that you self-identify with, that you are feeling this pull towards, that there's an evolutionary impulse that is moving you in a certain direction. Just know that, like, by being together in this current, I already feel it happening. It's the effect of what's called an egregore, which is a collective of magical currents that are all flowing together. And so my intention here is to really give you guys the space to weave together energetically in a safe crucible that allows the alchemy to occur within, so that you can start to really step into that next level of capacity and authority and reach and impact and artistry and like all the things that I want, that I know we all want, because we're sovereign. Like, the sovereignty thing is just like, let's underline it, because not everybody has this destiny. Not everybody wants to self-emancipate to the level where they are crafting their dream life. But if you are here, you are on that track. That is part of your divine design, the soul contract that you have, that, especially with your parents, that you are here to carry the torch forward and to shape humanity in a completely different way. that they had, they didn't have the same tools that we do today. So now we're actually learning how to leverage these tools, how to leverage the understandings of energy and how we can also have an effect on the collective field. So let's do it right now. How's that sound? And thank you to everyone for trickling in. Oh my goodness, you guys are so beautiful. Okay, so let's start with a drop
Well,
in, a tune in.
whoa,
Oh, let's see. Can we mute
that
up?
was an accident.
Oh, thanks, Jack. Okay. Oh, I might have. Okay, great. So that's where we're starting. So this is the channel is open and y'all are channels. And I'm really excited to support you in coming into your highest flow. Okay, so let's take a few deep breaths and just anchor into our space and feel into this body of yours, this beautiful home temple. And place your hands on your body wherever you feel comfortable or called, either on the womb or heart or both or anywhere else. And start to anchor through the breath. Taking a few deep breaths all the way down to your root. Letting go of anything from before. Letting go of any thoughts about the future. And just allowing yourself to arrive right here, right now, in this present moment, the space from which all is created from and all is linked to is through this now moment. And see if through your breath you can slowly stretch this now moment as if it is the fabric of space-time with elastane, giving it the ability to stretch and expand. And through each breath, inviting in a little bit more awareness of what you are sensing in this space. Is it a smell, touch, a sound, a sight, a taste? Or is it an inner sense? Can you feel the blood moving through your body? The pulse in your heart? The gurgling of fluids? And now tuning into this inner outer threshold, this gate, if you will, that flips the inward to the outward and the outward to the inward, that flips the above to the below and the below to the above. Connect in with this threshold. Maybe it feels like a gate or a mirror or a pane of glass. And notice its quality. Is it thin? Is it thick? Is it simple? Is it complex? And all experiences are welcome here. All interpretations are welcome here. There's no right, there's no wrong. Just noticing the quality of this threshold. Maybe it's square, maybe it's circular. What does this portal look like for you? And at the edge of this portal, you notice a being appear. They are the gate guardian. It could be me, it could be someone else, an ascended master, an ancestor, a guide, an element, a being. And you greet this gate guardian, and they greet you back. And they ask you a question. What is it that you need to lay down in order to pass through onto the other side of this threshold? What do you no longer need to carry into the next phase of your journey? So tune into what that is. And know that it is a great gift to offer this to the gate guardian, as it is simply energy. This can be quite a dense bucket of whatever it is you've been carrying for a long time. And so tuning into what that is, and also how relieving it will be to lay that down so you can be lighter in the journey ahead. And so whatever that is, whether it's clear or just a generalized offering of whatever it is you no longer need to carry, you offer that to the gate guardian, and the gate guardian accepts very happily your offering. And with that, you find the key. It appears in your hand. Notice the key. What is the quality of this key? What is its shape, its color, its texture? Feel it in your hand. You've had it in your pocket the entire time. And now with this, you get to unlock this doorway, this portal, on your own accord. And when you're ready, imagine yourself walking through. And just tune into what it feels like to be on the other side, how easily that passage was. And imagine one quality of feeling that this other side has offered to you immediately. Almost like you just stepped outside and the air is so fresh that it just hits your lungs. And feel that quality permeate through your entire being. Maybe it's simply contentment, bliss, relaxation, joy, or just neutral presence. And then from here, you offer thanks for this journey. Settle down into this new realm. And taking a deep breath in, we'll slowly exhale and arrive here. Letting it go. When you're ready, open the eyes and return back into this space. Take a moment to move and notice how you transformed. Because it's real. And if you have a candle, you can light it. Oof, I feel the field. I feel the field. And that's, something I want to highlight from that, because I did not plan it. It just happened that way. That was interesting threshold moment. The key that the Egyptian lineage gives you is the Ankh. And so this is like a universal key. Your key might have been different. Maybe you did feel an ankh, but it's it works for every portal. It really does. And so, yeah, this is really the part of the way you get to be the space holder for your own movements through different thresholds. And this is part of also how we get to get reoriented back to our natural rhythms of moving in and out of different energies and gates and phases, and how life weaves from one movement to another, and it should flow in a beautiful way, but as we know, it's not all that easy sometimes, and that's why we're here. But having some context for this can also be really helpful. So I'm going to throw it to Jordan next to offer a an astrological update. So let's hear it from you, girl.
Hello, friends. Um, Today, wonderful. We actually just went through the Human Design New Year. So, if you guys are familiar with that system, the first gate of that system is gate 41. So, or long story, but pray to planets. But you have this source code energy that is so online right now. We're seeing something really incredible. In astrology, in this moment, we have a parade of planets going on in the sign of Aquarius. And so you're seeing, I mean, what is the embodiment of this class but a community class, which is Aquarian. I was in an entrepreneur club, and the leader actually stepped down to make it a community-led organization. Is that not the embodiment of Aquarius? And so, really, the big question in this space is how can we do good by doing good? And that's what the sky is really going to ask from you. We have amazing astrology in February. The festival that Lee and I met at, I talked about there's a major conjunction coming at 0 degree Aries. You check where that is in your chart. There's the pizza slices, the houses, and you pick which house and you see what that's in. And what's happening right now is the leadership in the spiritual community is about to change. You have Neptune, which is our higher heart, our spiritual ideals, whatever sign that Neptune's in, you can really see the energies in the spiritual community. And so it's been in Pisces for so long. You've seen plant medicine and shadow work, and we go on retreats and we get very like melt into oneness and heal ourselves together, right? Well, now we're moving to Aries. This is love in action. And so Neptune will move into Aries in a few days. And then Saturn's going to follow up. And on February 20th, they're going to conjunct at 0 degree Aries. They're going to come to the same place. And that is the first degree of the entire zodiac. So there's a massive rebirth going on, as you can see with a lot of the happenings in other countries. You're seeing a lot of action on the Capricorn Cancer axis, which is really the Cancer is the like people within a country, and Capricorn is the structures that are built to meant to keep those people safe. So we've heard in the astrology sphere that Capricornian structures are being broken down, and we're being rebuilt with Aquarian structures, which are humanitarian first. It is the energy, it's the opposite of Leo. Everybody's really familiar with Leo. Leo's like, look at me, right? Well, Aquarius is the opposite of that. It's how can we step back and look at the collective, and how can we be of service to the collective? And now we're having this opportunity when these two conjunct. Saturn is authority and leadership. And so now we have this window to actually be love in action, love in leadership. And so there's this amazing opportunity. And right now, the current sky, and just a little fun tidbit, there's a big partnership activation going on the moment of this class. And so look around in this class, commune with people in this class. This is the temple space. These are the sisters and brothers for a reason. And so there's a really strong energetic for the people in this room as well. It would take me forever to break that down, but just know there's some really strong energy in this room. There are people in this room that are your collaborators, are your friends, are the people that could really bring these dreams online. We've been practicing in Pisces all of these things, and now it's Aries time. Aries is the one with the machete cutting through the forest. And so, what makes that fire burn? Because on February 17th, we're moving into Fire Horse year. It's the most external of all energies. And so, I know we have a lot of lovely introverts, but it is time to bring as much extroverted energy as you can. Get on the fire horse and ride it on the 17th. We also have a solar eclipse coming that day in Aquarius. And so stay super rooted and super grounded and super integrated. There's going to be a lot, we're moving out of the age of delusion. That's the shadow of Pisces, right? Into the age of information. And with that bleed over, we're going to have a lot of information meant to distract and pull you on this side and this side. And so, and with you see that with AI and deep fakes, right? That's the integration of the shadow of Pisces and Aquarius. And so there's a huge leadership wave coming online, but discernment and leadership. We are the people that go first to help the masses accumulate or acclimate. That's the word I was looking for. And so, with all of the energetics that are moving, capitalize on this Aquarianness, capitalize on the community led offerings as spiritual entrepreneurs, community led offerings, things that are really embodied. Are you actually embodying it? Anything performative will not go forward this year. Are you actually embodied? You know, another good thing is we're moving out of Pisces. So you're super curated, like filtered, designed stuff. If that's like not your thing, raw, authentic, just live stream it, no makeup, messy bun. That stuff is actually going to have a lot more energetics this year. It's really about the embodiment and the value of the content. And I have three personal planets in Aries. So if you need help with the energy, hit me up. But it's all about that, just like going for it, because Pisces has no future. So that it is, you have that invitation to melt into oneness. There's not actual action. It's the most passive of the signs. And then we're going to have this abrupt cut into Aries that has no past. There's only future. And so it's the most forward moving of the signs. And so normally when you have a page turn, you're going from Aries to Taurus, right? And that makes sense. I am, now you have I have. Or you're going from Sagittarius to Capricorn, or you've decided your moral code and now you're exerting that on the physical world. Those things kind of cut nicely to each other, right? What most people don't understand is that we're going to have a hard page turn, but we all know it's coming, right? And so we're all going to be really prepared. We're going to have our fire energy online. We know what, just find whatever makes your heart excited, your heartburn. For me, it's a lot of things. I can get so worked up and excited about so many things. And so find whatever lights your fire in yourself, because there's a solar eclipse the day of Fire Horse Day as well. When I tell you, I was on one this summer. I met Leah. This is it. This is what we were preparing for. This is moving from like we Pisces was training and now it's action. And so the things that allowed you to survive in business and get through those kind of those currents you were wait like the flow codes. The flow is about to change. So just know that and harness the energy. If you're more of an introvert, if you're like heavy water earth, go to your fire friends, your air friends, and move those kind of things. If you're like, how do I build? Deborah Silverman has a book, The Missing Element. If you're not a real fiery person and you're like, how am I going to survive this energy? Grab that book. There's a lot of great information about building fire, cultivating fire in your system. And so, all of our yin friends, you're going to have a great time because we're going to adapt and we're going to put all of this love we've cultivated in Pisces in action in Aries. Does that make sense?
Wow, Jordan. Round of applause for Jordan. Thank you so much for sharing that transmission. Side note, Jordan didn't know she was going to do that until like 5 minutes before the call. So this is the power of flow. Like Wow, you just made my year. That's what Lauren has to say. Yeah, right? Like sometimes you just need a little group coaching call, you know? Sometimes you just need someone to just remind you you're magical because this path used to be walked very alone, and then we all got exiled at some point. If we survived some of the persecutions, we all went into exile. And then, what I've been tuning into a lot is like I'm returning back to the tribe from exile after having done a lot of deep contemplation in the desert because, that was the safest place to be. And so a lot of us have been on this path for a long time and we have unpacked a lot. We've learned a lot. We've ascended, we have healed, we've learned how to not take things personally. That in and of itself is a huge game changer for life. Learning how to accept things, learning how to surrender to different degrees. Of course, it's still a journey, but these are the gifts that the collective, the mainstream collective needs. And they need threshold guides. Like that's the biggest thing that I want to share that I've landed on in recent times is like for me, I'm not an expert at like I'm a generalist. I have a lot of different interests and there's a lot of things that I've invested in learning about. But at my core, what my role is to be the threshold guide, to be the one to remind you you have the key in your pocket. Because, and that's, I think, what we can all do in whichever way, because it can be very creative as to which threshold you're here to steward for other people. But one of the things that I feel is really important for those of us that are on an entrepreneurial journey and also an artistic journey too, is to tune into what particular thresholds are we equipped with to support other people in moving through? And usually they're ones that we've moved through ourselves already, right? So whether that's a divorce or for me, it's pregnancy loss. I've experienced that. I know other people are constantly moving through that without the proper guidance or anyone to witness them through that rite of passage. And so this is part of our reconfiguration as to how we can show up for others. It's no longer about the modality. It's no longer like, I know how to do NLP and Reiki and I speak light language and I do all these cool magical things. It's like people don't care anymore. They don't care anymore because they don't know where they are meant to enter into the stream with you. They can't see the door. So your job as someone who is there to support them is there to literally paint the doorway. That's why that transmission came through for all of us to envision and go, oh, this is a doorway I passed through, and I know that the other side is a great place to be. So therefore, I know how to reverse engineer my experience or something you've witnessed. It doesn't even have to be your experience, but you can start to see that people just want someone to show them the doors there so that they can remember they have the key to walk through. And that to me makes a lot more sense around tuning into your quote unquote niche, right? Like it doesn't have to be one thing, but how you talk can really cater to the ones that are still trying to navigate the gap and very vulnerably go through that experience because that's where people are the most vulnerable is when they don't know how to find the doorknob in the dark room. And so that's something that I'd love to hear a little bit from you guys around what threshold do you feel just intuitively you are meant to guide people through? And other examples can be like motherhood or menopause. Like a lot of the women transitions are underserved. Or, from working corporate to working for yourself, being a solopreneur, or being someone who's never released music before to someone who has, or someone who doesn't know a specific skill to someone who does know that specific skill and can do something with it. So, comment in the chat. What threshold do you feel people are gonna feel called to show up to receive support with guidance based on your lived experience? Let's hear it. Okay. Finding one's trust in self and sovereignty. Lauren, could you give me a little bit more context as to when in that person's life that need will show up? Um, oh, thanks, Care, for writing the question. Yeah, what threshold do you feel you're meant to guide people through based on your lived experience? Death and grief doula. Yes, that is a biggie. And under that too is the rebirther. That's what I'm starting to feel I am called to is to be the rebirther. And there's, yeah, just times of your life where you're just like, old me's got to die. And there needs to be some ceremony around it. Lauren says, when one feels lost and wants more from life. Okay, cool. Amazing. Heather says, healing digestion, gut, nervous system by coming home to their body. Okay, great. And then, yeah, like tuning into, when you feel people might encounter that gate in their life. Maybe it's after like working in a stressful corporate job for a long time. They start to realize, oh, this is important in my life. Jordan, big impact. Okay, let's get specific though. What is the gate in someone's life? Like what are the events that lead up to them stepping to that the step right in front of your gate. Okay. Going beyond managing ADHD symptoms and stepping into their mastery. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, again, it's like we know the what, but what I'm trying to have everyone track here is like when does that show up in the timeline of their life? Like, is it when they start college and they're realizing, oh my gosh, I'm an ADHD person now because I can't handle the information. So it's like you're speaking to people who have stepped into a new transition of life and they have different rhythms with that, which I'll speak to in a moment. Terry says, thank you so much for asking us this question. My journey is to connect people to building relationships with the medicine of the plants, along with understanding how their body systems come into play, i.e., pathology and disease, what organs it affects, and walking them through the dynamics of how the plants are turning on their bodies' endogenous chemistry. Okay, amazing, amazing. And one thing I want to comment on that because I'm really deep into fertility right now because I realize it is also like it's probably the most challenging threshold that many people want to move into, but don't know how to because there's many layers as to why people aren't able to get pregnant these days very easily. It is kind of a mass issue that I'm very passionate about helping to solve the problem through a new lens. Because this is what I'm noticing is a lot of women are waking up to their nutrition and their body health and their spiritual empowerment when they are encountering fertility issues. And so I would say like fertility issues fall like if you want to serve a market that is like there's a lot to learn from it, but also it's like really beautiful because I was just on a 3-day summit all about fertility and people are discovering TCM techniques, they're discovering spirit baby stuff, they're discovering uh, supplements and vitamins and lifestyle and how to reduce stress. And sometimes, it's like it requires us to want something so badly to make a change. That's the thing about humans is that we're a little bit lazy sometimes. But if we're just like, okay, I'm either hitting rock bottom or this, I can't live any longer this way and something's got to change, that's when our medicine can find them in a really beautiful way and they can start to see things differently than what they were taught. Because then when you offer this new perspective, it provides a sense of hope because it is a different option that they can choose. And, not everyone has to be desperate before they find you, but there is a certain pull. And I think that pull also helps you keep your value and claim your worth around what it is you're here to offer. So that, yeah, you're not just catering to everybody. Your medicine is going to find them exactly when they need it, and they're going to be so grateful for it. So, okay, so let's see. Jordan adds, once people decide what the fire in their heart is, I want to support them in the building of their dream, like pain to purpose. I'm into helping build a massive purpose out of their threshold, if that makes sense. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. Sometimes you're just like, I got like the drive can just be like, I'm coming down to the last of my savings. Like there's a threshold there. And now it's time to just go. Fire horse energy. Um, Kara says the Phoenix falling in love with all of you. Self-love and self-worth, guiding artists channel through the mind, body, soul healing, and plant medicine, meditation, movement, animal connection, Mother Earth medicine. This shows up after having everything be burnt down and rising back up as a whole new authentic self. Still work in progress being multi-dimensional mystic. Yes. Yeah. So then when do you predict those burn down moments are going to happen? Is it post-divorce? Is it, so this is just a new layer of like how to see your modality and your medicine meet someone on the path of their journey. Okay, helping those walk through the gateway of rising from the ashes after a life crisis. Yes. Dee says hi. I mean, the crisis is it's interesting because this is something I'm noticing in the flow sequences. There's this chaos and order pendulation that keeps happening over and over again. And the higher you vibrate, the faster that happens, but also the magnitude starts to flatten out a little bit. So it doesn't rock you as much. But I've noticed there's still these moments of like, wow, so much is happening. I feel like I'm overwhelmed with life and the energies because, we're all getting more sensitive, and then being able to land in that and be like, okay, this is just now a new rhythm that wants to unfold. And on the note of rhythm, that's one of the things in the flow of our multidimensionality and how we're meant to uh, find a pacing for all of these big dreams and slot them into our daily. It's funny because I'm going very linear with a lot of my focus tonight to be able to provide some context and holding and masculine energy for the flow that wants to be poured into it. But it's like I feel like the analogy I got when I heard Jordan talking about the fire horse was that like it's like you're on a racetrack and you're racing and you've been drafting. Let's say this is what cyclists do a lot, but I think horses probably do it too, is like they draft behind the weaker ones. Because like if you're a team and you know who's the fastest, it's always the weaker, slower guys that start the race off at the front. And they're like using all their energy to set the pace so that the people behind who are actually the stars that are meant to win the race just draft it and they can just like, receive like all the windbreak, right? And so this big page turn uh that was talked about is that it's like we are meant to now like make our move and get to the front of the pack and now start leading, and we're going to lead to the finish line and win the race. And that is part of, I think, the fire horse energy is like what we were doing while we were drafting was actually setting the pace for our own inner rhythm to get really synced up. Like I don't know what they're thinking about when they're they're racing for hours, but I imagine they're tuning in, the really good ones are tuning into their bodies and being like, how do I gallop or how do I spin these pedals in a way that is going to give me the most optimal efficiency to move through? So there's all the clunkiness gets worked out. And I think what I'm feeling collectively here is that we've been doing a lot of that refinement up until this moment. A lot of the clunkiness, it's like it's self-awareness, it's the practices, it's saying yes. And of course, there's always more to do and maintenance to be done, but there's a part of us that is like, it's time to be seen, it's time to shine, it's time to get out of my own way, it's time to share my art, it's time to like actually make the business my priority and take the actions that expand my capacity, therefore money and all the abundance, because we could be praying for abundance in so many different ways, and we are. But the guides, Egyptian gods, are very practical in how they work. They're very they kind of have a system that works in accordance to the divine laws and Ma'at, as it's called, which is the universal forces of creation all being orchestrated in perfect flow. And so they're kind of offering their keys in terms of how to be in a rhythm of life that starts to propel you forward into more momentum, right? Because often what we're up against is the stagnation and the interruptions and the things that pull us out of our dharma. And I think most of us have a sense of at least something that we're ready to lean into, and things that maybe have been on the back burner for a long time, or desires, or um, just callings, I'll call them, like assignments that spirit has given to you. And you're like, I can't say no. Like, I have to just, I know that one's long overdue, but the assignment still has to be, put in. And it's an offering to the web of life that, the whole collective needs our medicine, needs our gifts. So remember that. And so how do we find a rhythm in our day to day that actually not only caters to all the touch points that this project needs, but also gives it shape, gives it a sense of an arc, right? It's like every time you hear like a reggaeton beat, like dum, 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 you could hear this beat for like ages, like it could go on forever, and you wouldn't get bored of it because there's an impulse to the way each one of those rhythms propels you forward. So the analogy that I received earlier today was to look at all of these things that you want to weave together in your life, the big projects and yeah, like all of the responsibilities, all the things that you are wanting to steward or tend, and see them as one of those beats in the rhythm. And and be like, okay, well, this is gonna show up Monday and Friday, and it's gonna create this, this beat, or this one's gonna show up every 2 weeks, and this is gonna, so there's a little bit more of that rhythm and a cadence and a structure to how you show up. And I've seen this work well for social media people. Like they kind of cycle their content through an arc of attract, nurture, show your expertise, and convert, so they're kind of moving through these arcs. And for someone who might be really overwhelmed with the many possibilities that we have in front of us as to how to go about thriving online, or just by sharing, the internet is an incredible opportunity to be able to do anything and reach anyone in the world, but the how part can be really overwhelming. So thinking about, what is the um what are the core pillars of your um of how you want to attract and be seen, and also nurture and be the authority on whatever it is you're about. Those kinds of things can start to get rotated into the rhythm. And we can start to be like, okay, now I'm going to do an authority post and I'm going to share what I know. But my whole feed isn't going to be that. My feed is also going to have some storytelling, which is going to attract people or give them some nurturing, elements where they will feel seen and heard because, we're talking truth. And what Jordan was talking about too, around just like the raw, you know, the organic material that isn't polished can really be the best, because I think these days our nervous systems are really overwhelmed by all the flashy stuff, and real humanness is coming back in style. It's always been in style, but it's definitely more. Oh, thanks, Care, for bringing in those questions. So yeah, like I'm in flow right now, so sorry if there isn't as much structure around this, but I'll get my AI to actually draft up a nice document around these things afterwards, so that it will, maybe give you some examples as to these concepts that we're channeling through. And that in it of itself can also be a rhythm of like, okay, there's a phase where you're going for a walk and you're just in open receptivity, and the downloads are coming in, or it's your dance flow practice, or your morning practice, or washing dishes practice, or whenever you feel that you're actually the receiver. And then you get this little nugget of an idea. And it's like, oh, what do I do with this? Is this an offering? Is this a program? Is this a song? Is this a transmission? Is this a post? And then that's where you can start to workshop it with AI, if that works, or maybe a friend or a coach or a mentor, or yeah, however you want to start to build out this little seed, or create the environment for the seed to start to grow inside of. That's another thing that we have available to us, and it didn't happen in the past. So we're kind of living in these accelerated times where a whole business plan can be built out overnight, and we can feel kind of confident that it's even possible, and then choose to honor that project and go, okay, so now how do I fit this into the rhythm of my life? And it will provide a little bit more complexity to the beat. And sometimes it's like a little clunky. Like I used to be a drummer, and I remember trying to like coordinate all my limbs to do like a bossa nova beat. And there was moments where I was like, oh, this hand can't be steady while this hand is trying to do some syncopated polyrhythm, you know? And so I think, and like I tend to speak in analogies, but like that can be part of the learning of how to incorporate more layers into the rhythm of your life. And that also see where like sometimes you just need to strip out certain things and go, okay, I can see how my social media use is affecting my ability to keep a steady beat over here. So I'm going to strip out that part, no hi-hats over here, just the cymbal, and then be like, okay, I'm going to take a break from social media right now and keep a steady beat with the things that I want to actually show up for, like my daily routine or my workouts or all these things. So this is kind of a new approach to the whole new year, new you uh, resolutions thing, which, yeah, we're already almost in February. So this season, but this is not really the new year. So keep that in mind. It's like if you're still trying to figure it out right now, that's the reason you've shown up, is that we're still in, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, a winter state. And it's for dreaming. It's for planting seeds. It's for allowing yourself to actually step more into that liminal space of, yeah, what wants to come through me? What really does want to be birthed through me? And then how can I set up my life so that I nourish that creation by keeping steady on the beat? And then before you know it, you're like, I'm coordinating all of these things, and I can do both my hands are independently sort of doing the thing, and I can run a business and have an artist project at the same time, or I can run a business and be a parent, or I can, like layer up all these things because everything is going to happen concurrently. You're going to have more, I mean, not necessarily, but I feel like those of us who are like still wanting to bring in these creations on top of everything else that we've already committed to. Some of it requires an inventory and to audit your life and go, okay, these things have to leave and be out of the picture. And other times it is that layering exercise where we're just, seeing how many limbs we can grow to juggle all of the things. But it is a beautiful flow practice to tune into um, how we become sovereign from our creations as well and create creations that don't need our time and energy 24/7, right? It is by design that as we're moving into this, there are certain supports like automations and ways that we can set our own boundaries around the one-on-one time that we share. So, for example, group call here can be very effective as a way to bring people into your world and serve at a higher level. And then as more access happens, generally it is the price goes up, right? So uh, tuning into the ways that maybe you have been leaking your life force or undervaluing yourself in that context where your one-on-ones have been undervalued and you're not looking at the actual benefit of having a wider reach or being able to, yeah, affect people without even you knowing that that's even a thing. So that's what I'm seeing with a lot of people who are able to balance all of the layers. And the way I see it is a temple complex. Uh, and this is the last metaphor I'll offer before I'll hear from you guys and see what is coming through, because this is the way temples used to be designed, is that there used to always be an outer court. The outer court was for the public. The outer court was to welcome in, strangers from wherever they were just wandering in, and there would be people who would be tasked with, you know, greeting them or entertaining them with music or the the people who would throw festivals and just bring them into the outer court. So then from there, maybe certain people will trickle in to the inner court. And this is such a different analogy to the traditional funnel model, but it can be seen almost the same way. But it's those inner court people are going to be interested in what you have to offer. They're going to be there to take your low ticket programs. They're going to be there to tune into your live workshop. They're going to be there to show up for your free offering. They're going to be there to like your post on Instagram. They're going to be there to, yeah, just be present and spend their time with you, your courses, and those kinds of things. And then you move deeper. And hopefully, this is the journey that you get to craft for the people who are moving through all the gates that you get to be the threshold guardian of. Then they come into the Holy of Holies or the antechamber or somewhere where they, receive another level of intimacy and connection and support. And that can be your one-on-one coaching, that can be your mentorships, that can be uh yeah, any kind of more supported role. And this way, they're also starting to see how they are learning about these rites of initiation through your guidance. And sometimes it really just requires a witness. Sometimes it doesn't require all that much work on your part, other than you validating their truth, other than you saying, yeah, go for it. You're magic. And that's hopefully what I'm offering for you today and demonstrating in kind of a meta way is that when you have this sense of a deep trust in what is working through you, that you're really just the mouthpiece for the divine or the body that has the animated life force to be able to transmit the codes and the wisdom and whatever it is that moves through you, which is so unique to everybody, which is what makes this so cool, is that no two people will have the same transmission or way of supporting others. So we're all needed here. That we can start to get out of our own way and be more in that stream of like, oh, of course, more guests are coming. Of course, I'm gonna, make more tea and serve them and have them, drink from this well and introduce them to other people here in the temple complex that they might want to get to know. Like you get to become the hostess. You really do. And it's kind of fun to be the one to build the temple, and this is the foundation we're laying right here, and it's like the perfect time of year to be able to do that in this collective Aquarian frequency, to be like, yeah, temple doesn't get built by one person. Temple gets built by community, and temple happens through leadership as well. Like someone has to have the vision, someone has to go, this is how I envision the world, is to re-honor the sacred, is to have spaces where truth can be shared and seen. And it doesn't have to be related to any particular tradition or religion. I just happen to be super into the Egyptian stuff because that's the lineage that chose me, and I'm just owning it. Um, and you'll see why in a few minutes when I do the transmission, because they speak through me, and they're going to give you the keys to be able to support others by being supported. And yeah, this could be like $1,000 mastermind, or it could be a free weekly or free monthly thing. And for me, it's like whatever it is that I need to share wants to come through in a way that the exchange is going to be fair. And because your vibes are so freaking high, you get it for free. But that's up to like you to discern how you want to position yourself in all of this. And it's like it's a yes and reality. It's like certain people, they're going to get it for free because they are investing in different ways. And hopefully we can start to have the sensitivity to see that value being exchanged everywhere so that the monetary side of it can catch up and also fall into place. But it's also part of us is like, yeah, but if I'm sharing this information in the context of a corporate setting, I'm going to be charging $500 an hour, right? So there's that distinction where you start to really affirm that like everything you're offering, and this is the cool thing, is like we get to decide what it's worth. We get to set the price because we're working in a totally different economy and a totally different marketplace on how we value ourselves and what sacred transmission does, because the human mind still doesn't understand any of it. But when you know you're getting all the high value all the time and you're constantly being upgraded because spirit loves you, then you have so much resource to work with. And that's just the reminder they want to offer through me is to know like everything that you're holding in your vessel right now is like top quality, top shelf, high grade stuff that when packaged properly, when messaged properly, is going to resonate with the ones that are ready to receive it. You've been distilling this medicine for a very, 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 very long time. And now it's just kind of getting like, that nice little pretty label, right? that that decides whether or that determines whether someone is going to be like, "Ooh, this is fancy or this is not," you know? It's this is sometimes how human beings have to be trained, and it is a psychological game at the end of the day, how we position ourselves and present ourselves. So I had no idea this conversation was going to go so businessy, but here we are. Hopefully, these keys are resonating. Do we have any shares? You can either reflect on some of the rhythm stuff I was talking about, some of the core pillars that you want to ground in to attract in people who see you as an authority, or also any projects that you want to talk about that are being birthed through you. You can just raise your hand and share, or just unmute yourselves. I'm gonna pour some more tea. Welcome to the Flow Temple, guys. Okay, Lauren, let's hear from you.
Okay, it's too much to type out, so I'm just gonna
Yeah,
say it.
let's hear your voice.
So this is all very, very synchronistic. I've been trying to get something off the ground since I moved to Australia, and it has taken me 5 years of being over here to finally like figure out that I have footing to stand on to do all these things. And so this is all just very affirming. And I even had a conversation with my stepmother back in the States a couple of days ago or a week or two ago. And she spent 2 hours on the phone with me, which is very uncharacteristic of our relationship. So I could tell that what I was presenting was of business value as well as of, my own personal spiritual value. It was something that would actually track. But what I'm coming up against is, despite this self awareness and this trust in my own ability, I have never presented like I present homeless. A lot of people think I'm homeless.
Hmm.
So I'm really struggling with the image side of this. So I'm wondering, how do I show up authentically while still looking presentable to those who are not quite ready for the full on authenticity of somebody who just, doesn't shave their legs and armpits, doesn't put on a bra, like stuff like this, I guess.
Hmm.
So if
Hmm.
anybody has anything to speak to that, I would love to hear it.
Okay, so when you're saying homeless, is that because like of how you dress, or like tell me a little more about it? Sorry, you're still muted. Yeah.
Sorry, I remuted
Yep.
myself. I didn't know there was a follow-up question. Um, Well, so like I obviously, large breasted and I don't wear a bra, so that is a part of it. There's just this inherent lack of presentability that comes with that territory, but my back has never felt better, so everybody else can screw off, and that's just something I've chosen that I'm willing to deal with. But oftentimes I'll wear shorts and singlets, like tank tops. My hair tends to be pretty frizzy. Oh, I think I just lagged out. My hair tends to be pretty frizzy, and I know that's like diet and stuff related. And there are things that I can do to manage, but I've always had dark bags under my eyes since I was a child because my allergies and sinuses, and I don't want to wear makeup. That's not me,
Mm.
So when people look at me, they don't necessarily see somebody who is keeping up with their body as well as I actually am, because some of my lifestyle choices and stuff like that are not necessarily matching the output level I want to be at.
Mm.
They're where I need to be at, and they're things are happening to shift that, and I can feel the shifts taking place. But I'm not sure if there's anything in the meantime that would, I don't know, maybe make a more business edge from somebody who's coming from a place of still needing to do some work in the exterior department, um, but not really sure how to find how I care in the right ways to do, like maybe what self-discovery do I go down to find my alignments in these I don't know. Like I think
Curiously,
I have more questions now.
it's okay. No, it's okay. So, yeah, this is good because like I even mentioned like we might do spot coaching in these sessions. And so who do you want to serve? Like who are these people?
um Mostly people who are disillusioned with either themselves or their environments and are uncertain of how to change it. They're ready to make a shift, but they don't know how to start finding the flow. I'm really good at helping people get into flow, leading them back to themselves through um, intuitive questions and guidance rather than giving people answers. It's more about the journey and leading people in. And I think part of it is like I think I'm refined on what my overall goal is, but I'm not as refined as I'd like to be. I think the in is going to be hula hooping and teaching people like somatic flow. And from there, I'll start learning how to integrate these. But even presenting as a hula hooper, that's a slightly more acceptable no bra kind of like woo woo. But I still don't really like, I don't know how to dress. I don't know how to talk to people like that when I go to say, hey, you should choose me to lead your exercise class because I can build community. Like I
Well,
don't,
let me stop you there for a second. I would bet that there's more people that look like you that are on the journey of self-improvement, let's call it, than you think. Right? They
okay,
don't all look like the models in the Instagram influencers,
okay,
profile. This is the power of actually speaking to exactly what you spoke to. And I don't know if you've already spoken to it explicitly in that way that like most people think I am homeless. Like
yeah,
that's a attractive post. You can be like, and by the way, I'm a hula hooper. I'm versed in somatic therapy. And
okay.
hey, I might
Yep.
look like a
So
disheveled mom,
showing
but
the
you do too. You know
undervalue
what I mean?
to the external appearance. Yeah. Okay.
Well, yeah, because what I'm hearing you say is coming from a place of authority.
Mm,
So, and there might be certain ways you want to align the way you look with how you present yourself, but we're not here to appeal to corporate. We're not here,
yeah.
there's no boardroom here. So it's
Yeah.
like if you're here to meet people, being more like them is actually going to make them feel more seen,
Safer. Okay.
safer.
Yep.
Yeah, because it's like that's the most humanizing aspect of this whole thing to be
Okay.
like, I'm not perfect. Follow me,
Yeah.
And
Got it.
they will because they hear that in your voice. You have created a change for yourself and
Mm,
you've liberated yourself to some degree in whichever way, to be like this modality helped me discover who I was, who I
yeah.
am, and then you can share that modality and then yeah, people will definitely be more resonant because they see themselves in you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. Cool. Well, thank
Yeah.
you. That
Cool.
definitely answers my question.
Okay, amazing. Thank you for your question. All right. Jai, do you want to speak? You're unmuted.
Sure. Oh, I'm unmuted. I didn't realize.
Oh. Or anyone
Uh,
else?
um, could you repeat the question? I'm a little
I mean,
lost.
really, it was just any reflections or if we can just like
Oh,
do like an
I
open
unmuted
Q&A.
myself. I'm unmuted myself because I've got two projects that I'm pretty passionate about this year that if I don't speak them into existence, they might not happen. And one of them is returning to a men's group that helped lead a few years back called the Light Club, which I kind of let fizzle and die. And yeah, there are lots of other men's groups around, but I really like the flow and having a focus, particularly having a focused on the embodied sexuality of masculinity and helping other men specifically who have porn addictions and those type of issues in their life, to focus on like cultivating the healthy masculine, and even talking about issues about how pornography affects society as well as men in general, and the way we interact with the feminine. And then the other one is birthing something that was dreamed up to be launched in 2020 and got massively diverted because of what else happened in 2020, which was a podcast called The Age of Empowerment, which is a pseudonym for the Aquarian Age, which we are coming into. And yeah, I'm really passionate about interviewing people and ideas, and I really firmly believe that we're moving out of the age of illusion, as Jordan said, into the age of illumination, and where the people become empowered. So the age of empowerment will be all about like the good news happening in the world. Like, this is a way in which collectives are filling the gap that was so poorly met by capitalism and competition. How cooperation and a gift-based economy and you know um, other ways of earning income and other ways of creating wealth as communities are going to take the fore in the new age. So
Oh, wow. Yes. Okay, let's send Jai some energetic support for all of his projects. Receive, receive, receive in your heart, Jai.
I felt it, actually. That's nice. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, may it all come through for you
Wow.
to be birthed through your holy vessel, and may all who are meant to receive it in a beautiful way and join in
Thank
and
you.
weave together.
Mm.
And so it is.
So it
Okay.
is. Thank
Um,
you.
Care, did you want to share anything?
I was just going to add something on to what Lauren had shared, and it was just a download around what she had shared, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So from what I got, from what you had shared, Lauren, there was a lot around the people who you're attracting aren't the surface level people. And when you said, I appear homeless, I can totally relate to that in my own journey in a lot of ways. And honestly, the people who see the depth of you aren't going to care what you look like on the surface. If you think of somebody like Einstein, Einstein always wore like the same knitted sweater all the time. Mr. Rogers always wore the sweaters that his mom knit him in different ways. So it's thinking about what makes you feel comfortable and not giving a fuck about what others, because the people who want you are going to appreciate the depth. Because as you were sharing, for me, that's what pulled me in. It was your energy, it was all that you have to give. And if you find a way to be able to share that, if you're looking for people in person or virtually, finding a way to be able to express that, like Leah said, that's where, for me, I got this huge light up for you. So, yeah, just wanted to share that for you. And I share that also from a place of being vulnerable in this group. I won't go into full detail, but I've been through quite a bit in the last several decades, especially around weight. I've lost over 100 pounds. And then in the last few years, I've gained quite a bit. So I've had to work around that when it comes to having always had that projection of have the perfect body, but then being plus size and having to work through that in a world that wants you to have the fit body. And it's having that appreciation for self. And if you know who you are deep down, then those people who are meant to be you are going to see your magnetism and feel it. And it doesn't matter how you appear.
Well said. Yeah. Yeah, we want to just feel like we're like it's okay to be who we are. That's the key. It's just relatability through authenticity will take you very, very far. Himana, let's hear from you.
I also wanted to comment on Lauren's share, if that's okay, Lauren. I think I would love to hear about what I mean, if I was one of your clients or people, to see you talk and share about your lifestyle and what brought you there and what has changed for you. And I think that would maybe make people realize the richness of what you're sharing if you like make the process available. And that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Anything you want to follow up with, Lauren?
Yes, that actually resonated a lot because it's actually pretty remarkable what I've been through. I won't share, but it for me to have the outlook on life that I do and the will to live that I do is nothing short of massive amounts of investing in time and energy and effort in trying to make my life better and figuring out how to do it. So I do think that you're right. If I do speak to that, it will be an entry point for people, like, oh, wow, I want to know about that. So
It's the portal. And it's so funny
yeah.
because these days the 2016 posts are trending, right? And I did one. I was like, okay, who was I 10 years ago? Oh, I was this version of me. And it was the most engaged with posts because people were like, I had no idea. Like I had a clothing company back then, and people were like, I still have 3 pairs of your pants. And the people are very curious to know about the backstory. That's why all the movie industry is just like, let's make a prequel. Let's make a prequel. Like, because people want to know what happened before. Like, that's how the Harry Potter books got popular. It was just like, we get to learn more about the backstory. So it's like when we trust that our backstory is actually something that we're meant to tell, and because we're maybe at a certain stage of our journey where we've integrated enough of that, like 10 years ago seems for me pretty integrated now. There's also these beautiful patterns that start showing up because I can see that there is a mirroring. There's a reason why that's trending is because this year might have some themes that will carry forward from that. And I'm sure the astrologers know more, can really track it very deeply. Jordan, I don't know if you have anything to say about that trend real quick before we do the final transmission.
Give me one second.
Okay.
My dishwasher is on. And
Oh,
I didn't know if you guys could hear that.
no.
Okay, sorry. What trend? I was
Oh,
just
it was like the 10 years ago to now mirroring and why that's trending so much.
well, one, we are moving. Technically, it's a 10-1 year. But like I said, there's a huge just shift. We went through this Pisces, and now there's just this ending, and really like we have a lot of thresholds in our life, right? Coming from maiden to mother, when you have a kid, when someone dies, but we truly are on a threshold that we've never seen before, and going into that matches up with this super fire energetic with the snake. So all of this shedding, you're seeing like you're shedding all those pieces, but it's all of those pieces that have, for example, one of my friends is doing like a glow clothes offer, right? And so it shows her last 10 years, or Leah's post with the leggings. It shows this evolution of this person, this identity, this character that we've built that is being shed for us to go into this next evolution. And so it is this very Piscean, like, I don't want to call it a memorial, that's kind of, but a celebration of these characters because we really are going as a collective through the biggest threshold marker I've seen in my research ever. And so now you're embodying that 2016 version of you that stepped into like the 1 year following. That version of you is the embodiment of what you teach. You've went through the 10 years of experience, and now the fire horse, all of the external energy, because not only is the horse and the fire independent, you can have like a water horse or a wood horse. So we have the horse that's not only super external, but the fire on top of it. And so you're seeing this last shedding of all of the pieces it took to get you here to now integrate into a character that will take you through this next phase.
Mm,
That makes sense?
beautiful. Love that. Yeah, and it's an archetype that we get to embody because we're so multidimensional that trying to pin us down, it's like kind of impossible sometimes. And that's okay. Like when I think about all the big projects that I'm here to steward, unfortunately, like they have such a wide range of like different kinds of markets that they serve. But at the same time, fortunately, they all link back to flow. And so it kind of, it's like sometimes there's just like one thread that has a through line for your life. And that starts to, be a little bit more apparent as you're presenting yourself in your Dharma. And sometimes people do, I'll just say as a caveat, like some people are very triggered by people that evolve that quickly. Some are very inspired, and the inspired ones are the ones that are meant to walk alongside you because they can keep up with the pace. You're at the front of the pack now. you're leading the you're leading the lead pack, and that's fine. Like, and it doesn't mean that we're like here to come to some final thing either. It's a lot of it is very emergent and can also be informed through the present moment and is informed through the present moment. So there's not so much predictability as there used to be in certain things, but there's a lot more possibility around what can happen, and then also what remains there, like what is the cornerstone, what is consistent. One last little temple architecture tip is that back in the day, the cornerstone of the temple, the reason it's called cornerstone is because that was the encoded stone. They would do all this magic ritual to encode the intention of the space in the stone. They would actually do the sacred geometry work in the stone. That was what rippled through the entire temple. And often it wasn't actually in the corner, but it was like the altar stone. And so when we talk about cornerstones and like foundational things and things that don't go away, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the holy of the holies, that piece of granite that holds the codes for your particular architecture, what it is that is going to be built up around your world in the physical, because the energetic blueprint is already there. And that's what we're refining right now is like, what is that energetic blueprint? And it's adaptable because we're talking about light architecture. It's not as rigid as stone, but it could be, your physical life too that you're building. So with that, I want to end with let's take a breath together. Let it go. Letting go of all the information, and wow, time just flew by. But a beautiful thing about Temple is that it's all happening in quantum time. So even if certain things didn't make sense or didn't resonate, it's all good. We're just working the quantum field as a collective and supporting this entrainment towards sovereignty, towards self being affirmed as divine, as sacred, that the whole thing is sacred, that the earth is sacred. And that's where I come from. That's what really drives me to do my work, is to restore the sacred in all the ways and to offer my unique medicine, which is this language I channel from the Egyptian gods, the Neteru as they're called. And so this is my gift to you tonight, to receive this transmission directly from these divine forces of creation, and you can get to know them better. I love to build relationships with each one of them, or at least the primary ones: Isis, Hathor, Ma'at, Osiris, Horus, Tehuti, or Thoth, Ra, Anubis. Like these are the main characters in my world that I interact with. They are archetypal energies that work through us, and also they are broader principles that have the ability to encode us in really deep ways. And this is the power of sacred technology, is that just through the voice, you can shape things, because sound has that power to shape. And so I hope this shapes you into, you know, a more aligned state, a more coherent state, so that moving forward, the rhythm of your life is going to unfold in a really beautiful way. And it's going to just sound like the best beat ever. And then you can layer on the music and what it is that really wants to flavor and shape the arc of that experience that you're meant to lead yourself through, and others as well. Okay, so let's take a deep breath here to ground the energy. Close down the eyes and feel into this expanded version of you that is ready to be seen, is ready to take action, of the energy of the fire horse, and to gallop all the way to victory, to receive the bounty and this beautiful prize, you can call it, like whatever that is. There's many threshold moments we'll be moving through, but seeing this come through Earthside is the prize. And all that comes from it as a result of you showing up is a beautiful gift to this world. And so with your permission, I will channel the Neteru to offer you a blessing of support and flow tonight. Here we go. Reiki aramaat het ret isa raka raka raka. Tuning into the heart. Hetu ret maat het ret isa ra heka raka sahura hatu ret maat. Reiki ara sahu reiki raka hatu ret maat. Tuning into your creation center, your womb or your hara, second chakra. Heka rama hatu ret maat. Heka raka sahura. Heka rama hatu ret isa raka het ret maat. Feeling the union of masculine and feminine through your entire vessel. Reiki ra hatu ret isa ramaat het ret maat. Heka raka sahura hatu ret isa raka raka raka. Heka rama hatu ret isa ra heka raka sa 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 sa. The Ankh, I declare this healing to be sealed and complete across all timelines, dimensions, and realities. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. Ankh Neteru, everyone. Thank you so much for joining here tonight. How do we feel? Is there any reflections, anything come through during that transmission? Dee says, many cannot keep up, and that's why those relationships fade or outright fail. Yes, and sometimes we have to go through the grief that brings up, and that's part of being a passage guide, is being the death doula for what can't come along. Terry, let's hear from you. Oh, hey, it's been ages since I've seen you.
I know.
We go way back.
I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for holding this space. This is a collective healing, energetic experience, and I really do feel that frequency of love, and there is a momentum that happens when we show up, and your engagement to have us go deeper and connect to our cornerstone is so sweet. Thank you, Leah. Your many journeys and transformation and evolution as a woman and human here to support is so cool watching you.
Thank you. It's
rock.
beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful seeing someone, because I think we go back like 15 years or something.
I was like 2012. I met you when you were think it was Burnaby. You were doing your clothing. Yeah.
Yeah, I just started that. Yeah. So, this is also the cyclical nature of how things weave back in, and the ones that are able to receive, like I can feel your frequency. You've changed a lot too, but also you don't look any different. You haven't aged. So like
Yeah, right.
this is what happens, guys. We get to evolve and then also keep, stay in our vitality. So amazing. Beautiful.
Thank you. Wow.
Great. I totally forgot that I was also going to share one last announcement, and it's a biggie actually. So I'm taking a group to Egypt this year. Yay. And that's happening in October 14th to the 27th. It's a 2-week tour. All the info's on my website, and yeah, it's going to be just the best. It'll be my third time to Egypt. Almost birthday tour, yeah. And yeah, I'm calling in an incredible group to come with me and share the codes. And the last time I was there code leading was in 2023, and it was such a powerful experience, and so much has changed since then as well in terms of my connection with the Neteru and how they work through me as creation supports. Like this is all going to be about creation. It's all going to be about stepping into more power, more impact. And yeah, the way the temples encode us in these ways, it's just incredible. And if you haven't been there physically, it's a whole thing. And it's going to be a small group, no more than I think 24 or so. And we're going to be riding a beautiful custom made boat down the Nile, and which just got built by an incredible woman in Egypt. That like this never happens to women. Women never get to actually commission these kinds of builds, but because she comes from a family of other people who have guided a lot of different tours, like her father was an operator for a major tour company for many years, and so she's like inherited this role to guide people. Her company's called Divine Journeys, and it's just gonna be the most incredible high level experience. Definitely not touristy at all. Very much in the sacred, and really just bringing the souls together to remember our deeper purpose, and also clearing a lot of the layers of karma and things that happen sometimes when we have to purify at a deeper level. But there's more info on the website, and yeah, I'm going to be announcing this to my list soon and to social media. But I want you guys to be the first to know that Egypt is happening this October if you want to join. And there'll be payment plans and ways to also. I'm also tuning into a way to create a vehicle for you to be able to afford it as well through my corporate consulting arm that I'm also building right now, which is kind of a big thing. But this is also part of the codes that I'm getting, is that for those that are creating experiences that might be a little bit more expensive, to also offer ways that we can all support each other in thriving in that way. And yeah, being able to pay for it through different vehicles that the actual like the provider, like me for example, can offer to you guys. So this is a whole thing. Lots is brewing right now. But I really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for spending the time with me here today, for staying till the end, and for just being so open to sharing this and for receiving. Let's do one final little I'm gonna put you guys all in gallery here, and we're just gonna beam some good energy to everybody here on the call, whether through live or in the future. May all of our highest prayers come to this plane, and may we be in just the most blissful portals that Earth has to offer us in this lifetime, in this season, this Earth walk. And give and receive at the same time. Make sure you're opening up to receive too, and you can go off mute if you want to and just say a few words, or hello, goodbye. Danny, Michelle, oh, so many people I know personally. It's just like it's a whole thing. Wade, oh, Shamira. Okay, sending you so much love. Oh, I can feel that light language, Jordan. It is so, and so it is. And excited to see you in the next one on the 22nd next month.